I'd like to call this meeting, the General Government Committee, to order. Thank you all for being here, and may we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Dennehy.
Here.
Councilmember Maloney.
Here.
Councilmember Schmischer. Here. Councilmember Stein.
She's here.
Councilmember Tracy.
Here.
Councilmember Worthington.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick.
Here.
Mayor Troutman.
Present.
All right. So we have this evening, there's two subjects, as I understand it. Is that correct?
We actually have one subject, but four different parties
Four.
for that subject. So we have community partner agency funding. If council remembers, last year we moved to a standardized contract with the understanding that early September during budget season, we would ask the agencies to come back and make their budget requests from council. And with that, we have the Chamber of Commerce, the Humane Society, Golden Age Center, and Fremont Center for the Arts here tonight to make those presentations or make those asks. And if it pleases the council, I would ask that you start with the Chamber of Commerce.
That sounds acceptable to me, and seeing no objection, Rich, you want to come up and talk to us?
Oh, light is broken. Adam, do you want to help him out on that? Oh, cool. There we go. All right, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here to speak to you. I've got a lot of information to cover, so I'm going to go relatively quickly, but I want to outline. First, I just have a really brief chamber update that I always enjoy giving, and then we're going to talk a little bit about our exciting new project that many of you have heard about, but we'll have some specific details. So I'll try to get through this quickly, and then so we can talk about questions, etc. One thing I'd like to talk about that's kind of cool coming up for next year is that we will be celebrating 90 years. Our organization was reorganized in 1935, and so we will be doing some planning and a lot of different celebrations to happen, so we're looking forward to that. We've had a really busy year since I've chatted with you last, and we continue to enhance our programming and bring a lot of offerings to our business community. We continue to operate as the 3C chamber, catalyst, convener, and champion, which really drives our mission. We continue with our member organizations to attend around the state and around the country conventions and educational seminars. Last year, as many of you know, in October at the annual Association of Colorado Chambers of Commerce convention, we actually took home 2 first place awards for various programs that we were initiating here in the Royal Gorge region, which was a really great honor for us to be presented in front of the state chambers. And we also are continuing our education. I'm in year 2 of my 3-year path to a chamber accreditation at the Western Association of Chamber Executives, which is the academy out in Sacramento, California, for a week every August. And this year I brought along my Director of Membership, Linda Larson, to start her accreditation. So within the next 3 to 4 years, we'll have 2 chamber accredited professionals leading our organization. And this really just lets us network and learn from the best of the best and the best in the business, and see the state-of-the-art practices that chambers are engaging in throughout the country, so that we can bring that here to our community in Fremont County. We have continued our alliances and strategic alliances with our partner chambers in our neighboring county that are of similar size and serving similar needs in their community, the Latino Chamber of Commerce of Pueblo and the Pueblo West Chamber. We had another really successful multi-chamber event at the Pueblo Zoo that allowed our businesses in Fremont County to expand their networking channels with some of the businesses in the Pueblo area. So that's been a very successful initiative, and we plan to continue that and strengthen that, as well as our partnerships with the SBDC out of Pueblo. One of the things that we're doing this year with them that will be new coming up in a few weeks is the Outdoor Industry Summit here in Canyon City, which should be a really, really great event to bring a lot of new people and visibility to the area. So you have access to this PowerPoint, and I'm not going to read word for word, but we continue some very significant updates in programming across our slate of membership programs. We continue to add and enhance our membership benefits programs. We've added a few new tiers, and we've added a lot of benefits to our existing tier levels. And we continue to enroll and support members at a really accelerated pace. We have had some really successful. We continue with all of our regular chamber programmings. We had 16 ribbon cuttings last year. We're up to 14 already for this year. 70 new members last year total, 39 new ones this year. We've raised $10,000 in scholarships through our foundation. We've raised over $18,500 in events, or I'm sorry, over 18,000 attendees at events, and over $25,000 raised. The big thing I'm here tonight to talk to you about is our responsibility and our role in tourism. As most of you are aware, we are the brick and mortar of the Fremont County Tourism Council, and both the city of Canyon City and the FCTC does pay us to fulfill services as the visitor center here in the Royal Gorge region, and also to provide various services, answering our 2-800 lines, mailing out and distributing our tourism guides, and a slew of other tourism-related activities, which we really enjoy, and we feel it's very important for the community. As this slide illustrates, this is an updated report from the Dean Runyon Associates showing that the tourism in the area and the associated spending and the employment that goes with it continues to show a very positive trajectory year after year. And in fact, in 2023, last year, we were at an all-time high in travel spending here in Fremont County. So it's a very, very important initiative for us to be a part of. And to that end, we continue with our alliances with our area partners, of course, Royal Gorge Region, the Colorado Tourism Office, Pikes Peak Area Attractions, and also Visit Colorado Springs, which is kind of our closest major destination marketing organization. And a lot of great collaborative efforts go on between Pikes Peak Region and Royal Gorge Region. But we know there's a lot more that we can do. And that brings me to our big project at hand. Ever since I was hired in my position as first executive director and now president CEO, having spent most of my career in the tourism industry, I have realized that the one thing that this region is lacking is a flagship professional visitor center. And so over the past several years, we've been shopping, looking. Our space that we are currently in on Main Street, while it's a nice space, it's very limited. It's rented. There's no chance of owning that space ever, and we just need to be not only in control of our own destiny as a Chamber of Commerce, but we need to be able to offer the amenities that the modern-day traveler is seeking when they're looking for information within a community that they're visiting. So I had made about 3 years ago, I had made an offhand comment to Rob Brown, because I had asked FEDC to kind of keep their eye out too, and I said, you know, the one building in this town that would be just the absolute perfect location for a visitor center and chamber offices, we're never going to be able to get it, but it would be perfect. And I mentioned the Denver and Rio Grande depot there at 115 and Highway 50, and he kind of laughed and he said, yeah, banks don't usually move anywhere anytime soon. So he called me last December and he said, Rich, you're never going to guess what. And before he even finished his sentence, I said, Bank of the San Juans is for sale. He said, yep. So that set a whole lot of wheels in motion, and it took a little while, but we were finally able to get some meetings with them earlier this year and kind of presented our plan to them, and they have been nothing but just the absolute most gracious organization. They are definitely a supporter of this community, and they want to see this happen. And as I kind of go through these slides, you'll kind of see how that has transpired. This is an iconic building dating back to 1909. It was actually the second of the Rio Grande train stations. And ironically, as the story goes, and not the story, as the facts actually go, the original train station, which was much smaller, the original Chamber of Commerce, which was back then known as the Merchants Association, actually reached out to the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad and said, we don't feel like this train station is reflective of the community that we've become. We would like you to build a bigger and better one. And they actually agreed. So that set in motion. They built this existing train station in 1909. I believe the first one was a much smaller wood frame building that dated back to their first entry into the area in the 1880s. So they built this one, and you know, train stations at that time were the original visitor centers. People traveled by train and they got off, and their first exposure into a community was their train station. In fact, that even prompted the Santa Fe Railroad to follow suit and tear down their original train station and build the current Santa Fe depot that is now the depot for the Road Gorge Route Railroad. So that was kind of a cool little factoid. Another compelling thing about this location, which you are all very aware, is that it sits adjacent to the Depot Park. So not only do we have a building that is extremely well suited for the purpose of a visitor center, but it is also adjacent to property that can, over time, be built and up and much better suit partnering activities with what the visitor center would entail. We'll get into that just a little bit more. Another really fun historical fact that was dug up by Lisa Stutz as she was helping me research some of the aspects of this building was the chamber was actually here back in 1971. So in 1967, when the Denver and Rio Grande ceased passenger service, and they sold the depot to the city of Canyon City for $1 in 1968. And the city proceeded to do a little bit of remodeling and move their some municipal offices into there, some small jail cells. But the east part of the building, which was an uncovered a covered waiting area but had no walls, was identified at that time by the President Chamber, Walter Shep, who said, that's where we need to be. And so he organized a sale of road atlases at the time that funded kind of temporary wooden walls to be built in between the piers there, and it was the first time that part of the station was ever enclosed in 1971, and the chamber I believe was there until the city sold the station to, I think it was Canyon National Bank was the next owner. So that was a fun little fact that will be kind of back where we started from.
And some of us, and there may be others in the room, remember the chamber being there when the police department and the court was there also.
The thing that I didn't realize, and this is something we're putting together for our chamber history for next year, is that the location that it was next was the building where Rose Injectables is. And that was
yes.
something that was new
Yeah.
to me, so it was kind
Oh,
of
really?
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, before it was able to move into the buy and purchase and move into the Peabody Mansion. So the building itself, I'm sure many of you have been in there when it was Bank of the San Juans, is just, as it stands right now, is perfectly suited for the planned uses that we have thought long and hard on and consulted with other chambers and other tourism organizations. It is basically, can be easily divided as it stands into 3 zones. The west end of it is already set up very nicely as bank offices that can be easily converted to additional co-working spaces, incubator spaces, very much needed in this area. Carla Brady, who sits on our board of directors, who also, as you all know, owns and operates the Hive downtown, which is the closest similar type of a business, has said time and time that we need more of what she has to offer, because she gets calls all the time for people looking for those types of spaces, and she's just all full up. The FEDC has indicated a big interest in renting a few of these to use as incubator offices, and Brad Rowland and Emergent Campus has also indicated an interest in expanding some of the activities that they do there to offices here as well. Of course, the main feature part of this building is the visitor center, and I'll show you a few photos in case you haven't seen it recently. It is already extremely well set up for that purpose there, with decent-sized restrooms and a lot of big open space. And then the east side of the building does have enough space, not only just for our offices, but we want to transition into what a lot of state-of-the-art modern-day chambers have to offer, and that is additional spaces for businesses. There's a decent amount of space in that wing of the building, and it will allow us to put a small classroom educational space in, and also kind of micro offices. So if a at-home business or a small business doesn't need to rent a full-time office and they just need to meet a client or come in for the day or whatever, there would be some space for them to do that. Another thing that the Latino Pueblo Chamber of Commerce has recently introduced into their building, and I toured it a few months ago, was a media green room that allows businesses to do a lot of filming of their own content and other things that they might not otherwise have access to for reasonable prices. So we're talking about a whole slate of really robust business support items that we can provide by being in this building, much more so than what we have now at our rented offices downtown. Just a few slides for those of you who aren't familiar, who haven't been into the building in a while. The other nice thing about this is we have negotiated the furniture in with the purchase. So in a lot of ways, this will be pretty turnkey for the uses that that we would put into it. You can see the middle slide on the bottom row is a small meeting room. On the co-working side, there's already a private lounge. One of the offices will turn into a business center. So the space on the left side with the floor-to-ceiling windows is one of the enclosed spaces on the old waiting room side. So already, as it stands, it's very well set up to be the facility that we need it to be for this community. And so it truly is a station of innovation, and that's kind of the way that we're going to approach this in the three-zone concept here. But one of the other really great opportunities that we are pursuing, and anything with state government is going to take a little while, but the Colorado Tourism Office, which already operates 12 welcome centers, they fully own and fund them, they basically ring the state, and they are there to greet visitors and travelers coming into the state. But they also do realize that sometimes people miss those, whether it's late at night and they're not open, or that they're trying to get somewhere. So they are in the process of developing a what they call Welcome Center Light designation. They haven't fully vetted this concept yet, but I have made a pitch to them, and they are definitely interested in showing them how the strategic location of the Royal Gorge region in terms of the way visitors experience and travel through the state of Colorado. We do represent a very important convergence of travel from the southeast and north, being on one of the only two major trans-state corridors, as long as the Blue Mesa Bridge is open anyway, that really make us a great opportunity for them to explore this concept further. The CTO has gone through a 3-year planning and renovation plan for their current welcome centers that is extremely exciting and really interesting to see. And if we were given that light designation, we could potentially access a lot of the collateral that they are developing for their traditional welcome centers and use them here in our welcome center in Canyon City. And a part of that, a big part of that from their space planning is encouraging outdoor spaces where local businesses can do pop-ups, both retail and food, so people passing through can get a little taste of the community they're in and hopefully want to explore more. Small playground for the kids to get out of the car, run around, and some other activities, which makes our location right there by Depot Park a really perfect complement to what we want to do with the visitor center. And then just some really great design and thought out designs within the visitor center itself. A lot of digital media, of course. Back up here, they call it the immersion room, where you're surrounded by, you can basically go in there and say, oh, I want to see what it's like to be at the Black Canyon, and you can press that and you're surrounded by the Black Canyon, and really cool technology that would be incorporated into this. But most importantly, even if we can't access all of this right away, if we can get on their map as a stop, this is connected right into the Colorado Tourism Office's website. So people that are coming into the state and have done any research whatsoever, they will be guided right to our visitor center here in Canyon City. Oops. Let's go the other way. So how are we going to make this happen? We have signed a contract with Bank of the San Juans to purchase the building. We close on December 20th, and all we need between now and then is a $500,000 down payment. That's all. The county has stepped up, and through a long process of vetting with them, and showing them everything I'm showing you, plus the numbers that support it, is providing us with a $100,000 ARPA grant to get things kicked off. And I'm currently in the process of applying for a competitive grant through the State Historic Fund, which can be used for acquisition. And I can use it for this because, thank goodness, the station is already on the State Historical Register of Historic Places. So there are other grants and other opportunities out there, and I am aggressively looking at those. But the one thing that I was highly recommended by many of my chamber peers and colleagues in the state was to engage a professional capital campaign company. And so we have taken their recommendation, and we have hired Power 10 out of Atlanta, Georgia, who has been in the business for over 30 years and very successful at what they do. They specialize in innovative fundraising campaigns for chambers and other community development and economic development organizations. In their history, they have raised over $500 million and over through 100 campaigns, and they have never not reached their goal. So this is not a cheap process, so we have dedicated a significant amount of funds. We consider it not only an investment in our organization, but investment in our community. Because not only is this capital campaign about the brick and mortar, it is about the strategic initiatives of our organizations to be able to what we can do with the building that we're purchasing, and the ways that we can better support the community by being in that building. Fort Collins Chamber and the Arvada Chamber up there are two. I have a really good relationship with their presidents, and they just could not speak more highly of this organization. And so we are in a pre-launch phase of gathering information, but since we do have a tighter timeline than normal, they are reallocating some resources so we're going to be looking for some pre-campaign seed money, because we won't actually launch this campaign until early next year. And because it's a strategic initiative, we'll be talking to a lot of our community, a lot of you and everybody, to make sure that the programs and the vision that we see is in alignment with what the community both wants and needs from us as a Chamber of Commerce. So we are standing beside these professionals, and we have met with them multiple occasions already. They will be out here next month doing interviews and be arranging a lot of meetings with a lot of you. But the strategic initiatives that we will be focusing on, there's kind of three areas, and that's this is just a very vague working plan. Number one, we've identified, as is the topic here a lot, that we need to be able to keep our talent here in Fremont County and not lose it to the bigger cities. And we need to diversify our industries and our businesses, so we're not just a summer tourism economy, we are a robust year-round economy. And then the lack of dedicated space, technology, and other resources for small businesses that would be helped a lot by having this building and being able to move into there and utilize it. So the case study that I wanted to show you real quick in closing is a similar sized community in Alabama, and in Opelika, Alabama. They developed a campaign for them, and they are in the process. I think they're 2 years into it right now, and it's been extremely successful. In fact, their Chamber of Commerce won a first place national award at the Association of Chambers of National Chambers of Commerce for this particular project. It is weirdly similar. Their community is a little ahead of us, as you'll see here in this video that I'm going to play for you in a minute. But they bought an old post office in town, and they turned it into a visitor center and business hub and Chamber of Commerce offices. Much larger facility than what we're looking at, but very similar in a lot of ways. So this was kind of the case study that we're going to be following. So one of the products that will come out of this campaign will be something like this video that I'm going to play, if it'll let me. And I already see a speaking interview with Mayor Troutman in here, so you'll see the similarity here in a minute. So yeah, we'll watch this 3-minute video and then we'll conclude. There should be a play button in the middle, or if not, there's a link. You should see a link below it. No? Can you see the notes section? Can't see it?
I can see the link, I just can't copy it or play it.
Okay. Well. Yes. I will, that's disappointing. I'll forward that to you all so you can view it on your own monitors. So tonight I am here, as you have seen from your the PDF that I have sent out. Number one, the regular funding ask that we do every year for our contract for visitor services, or contract for services, and our ask for the 2025 budget. But in addition to that, we are also asking, and I have chatted with Ryan, and of course he's, we're going through the process, but he has indicated that there could potentially be some matching funding, additional funding, because in order to operate this facility, we will need another full-time employee. And so we are going to need some additional funding, at least to start with, to hire that person to operate the visitor center. And the Fremont County Tourism Council has stepped up and is providing some extra matching funding on their end. And hopefully I'll be getting the Colorado Tourism Office to kick in some funding as well. Once this campaign kicks off, our goal is to pay off this facility within the first 3 to 4 years. And when we are able to do that, we will be much more self-sufficient for the operations. But as you can see from the operational pro forma that was attached to your documents, I have gone through all of the aspects of what it would look like to operate this building based on a $500,000 down payment. And we have received the commitment from the FCTC for the amount of rent that we would need from them. And then we have the numbers of all of the offices if they were 100% leased, and then a few other items that will bring us to our monthly revenue and then our monthly expenses below. There's also an additional page in there, so not only are we going to try to raise the down payment, but it looks like we are going to need about $100,000. That's being a little conservative to fully move into the facility and get settled in as well. So that's what we're looking at. I welcome any comments and feedback. I think, does anybody from the Tourism Council want to speak to what they feel like the need for this facility is?
My name is Adam Arnold. I am the chairperson of the Tourism Council here in Fremont County. I do not know this man. I've never met him before in my life. He keeps saying that he's with us, and I don't know. I'll keep it super brief. I'm not gonna get flowery. I think the point really that I would like to bring across about tourism is, to me, for a community, tourism is free money, right? People are coming here, they're experiencing things, and then they're leaving. But when they're leaving, they're also leaving their money with us. So every time you go to a restaurant, every time you go and experience something in this community, it's subsidized by tourism. Not necessarily the tax money, but people coming and helping these businesses here in town. They're helping build businesses. They're helping build restaurants. Without that tourism money, many of these things that we enjoy as citizens in this area wouldn't be possible. Tourism makes that possible. So every time you have a bite of pizza, every time you have a burger, every time you have a beer here in town, tourism is subsidizing that. And so it's critical for this community to continue that and to increase it. I could probably make up some numbers that would say that this visitor center is going to make tourism go up, but I don't need to, because it will. And so all we would ask is that everyone realize that and see how important tourism is for this community. That's all I got.
What commitment has FCTC made?
I don't know. There's some numbers there, I think. What did you ask for?
So what FCTC has committed to is an additional $10,000 above.
No.
We
23.
committed-
Well-
committed
well-
to 25.
10,000 for the contract for
Okay.
services, and then another almost $27,000 for that rent, which is the $2,300 a month.
We just finalized our budget yesterday, so.
Thank you.
So Beth Katchmar, I'm on the Fremont County Tourism Council. I'm the treasurer, so I know the numbers. But no, we did commit. We actually rearranged our whole budget to come up with additional money to help fund the visitor center and the rent, that because we've always had contract services with the Fremont County Chamber. They're our brick and mortar for the Tourism Council. They answer the phones, they fulfill the visitor's guide, they send out, they provide vital services to tourism to the Fremont County. So we always allocate lodging tax dollars for that. But I just wanted to say that this visitor center is what the missing piece for tourism in this area. Right now, we can send out all the visitors guides we want. We can do all the social media we do, which we devote $100,000 of our budget goes to social media and marketing the area, and then an additional amount goes to the visitor's guide. But once they get here, if they don't have a place where they can pull in with their RV or their tour bus or their kids to come out and play in front of the visitor center, a visitor center that sits in front of that historic sign that says, turn here, stop here, come here, and come get a visitor's guide and meet somebody who can tell you, you can go here and you can go here, and you can spend more days in this area, because our funds from the lodging tax are based in heads and beds. And so without putting heads in beds for additional nights, we don't raise any money for lodging tax. And so by providing a visitor center that's a beautiful historic building that comes right when you're sitting there at that light, that makes you want to turn and stop there, that's going to be the piece that takes this area to the next phase of tourism to the area. And tourism is vital. Tourism is vital to keeping our community and what it is. And we've changed the face. Fremont County Tourism has changed the face from this prison community to a recreational community by building trails and providing marketing for the area. And this visitor center is what takes it to the next step. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. This building will be purchased by our 501c3 foundation. I've got two foundation board members here with me this evening, Kathleen and Della. The other thing I failed to mention so far, one of the big advantages that we're also working with on the fundraising piece is that over the past 4 or 5 months, I've been working to get this project designated as an enterprise zone contribution project. So, which is available for rural areas like ours in this business development piece. So not only will contributors be able to take advantage of the federal tax credits, but they will also receive a 25% state tax credit or a 12.5% tax credit for in-kind contributions. So, excuse me. So that is a really big deal for us to be able to solicit funds for this project as well. And we can do it over a 5-year period. That's what it's written out as.
Yes.
You mentioned in the material that we received, the Gates Foundation, Betcher Foundation. I assume you'll be looking at others too. One that comes to mind that I don't know if it would fit or not, but El Pomar in Colorado
Yep.
Springs. I think in a very high-level way, at least, it would fit within what they fund.
Yeah, they are on the list, and we're getting ready to put together a steering committee as a part of this process, also with Power 10, and we will have people on this committee that have those connections, and we will be looking into that as well. So thank you for that, but yes, they are definitely on the list.
Thank you, Rich. Other questions or comments from council? Could you summarize? So this is a presentation that's going to go into our budget process, and from there we'll be making as we have has been recently demonstrated to us, the sausage making of budget decisions. And our Mr. City Administrator, you do understand their ask, what they're asking for. And could you just summarize that briefly for us, Rich, please?
Yes, so it's a twofold, it's actually a threefold ask, but the last part will have to be dealt with under other probably meeting types. The first one is just the regular renewal for the contract for services at the increased amount from 2024 to 2025, which is outlined on your sheet, and then a sum of money that can be put towards, as Ryan and I spoke about it, it's kind of a match to go into a fund that would basically pay that additional staff member to run the visitor center. And then the other part of this is to begin discussions with you all about a long-term lease on Depot Park, so that we can bring that officially under private ownership and be able to better regulate the homeless and vagrant population. I've already begun a study with Lester Lamone on ways to over time start to mitigate that. There would be some upfront financial commitments, basically revolving around additional vegetation clearing, trimming, and lighting, and then over time developing it into more of a plaza than a park. Park indicates public ownership, and I envision something like a Gateway Plaza, and that would then fully complement the visitor center spaces as we were looking at in the presentation.
Thank you. Yes.
Just along those lines, I don't have the materials printed in front of me. Could you speak to like what the specific uptick in the request is for pot number 1? Oh, Andrea has it printed out. I love it. So it looks like could you just speak to the uptick in requests that you have from 2024 to 2025 and why those funds are necessary? Because I think that's part of the sausage making that we'll likely have to review and discuss.
Sure,
as part
and
of the
we
city
can
budget process.
provide you, if you have specific questions, we can provide you with supporting details on that. But it basically it's about an additional $5,000, and that comes from staff wage increases, and then the lower two lines, which is the operational expense and supplies equipment, is going to be going up a little bit because of the being in the new facility.
Okay, thank you. And the sum of money that would be going towards the match for an additional staff member, are we matching what the chamber is fundraising, or are we matching what FCTC is
It was
putting in?
envisioned as a three-way match between FCTC, the city, and hopefully the CTO, Colorado Tourism Office.
Okay, thank you. That's really helpful. And I guess lastly, if I may, I think I heard you say that you need 500,000 by December 20th, that you have 100,000 of that, but that the Power 10 campaign won't launch until early next year.
The main part of the campaign won't launch until early next year, but they are, because of our rather unique situation on the timeline, they are putting some resources into vetting out some early seed money in the process. So they're kind of accelerating parts of their normal campaign process to accommodate our tighter timeline.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Other questions? Well, thank you. Thank you. We do appreciate the presentation, and I believe that's all you've got for us.
Yes,
Right.
I'm sorry about the video. I was really looking forward to you seeing it. It's beautiful.
Well,
but I
we
will-
can watch it
I will send it to
individually.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Next, we have another couple of organizations. Did you have an idea?
We do. If we could bring up Doug Ray from the Humane Society. The Humane Society is not asking for an increase this year, and but he does have reporting for you.
And the Great Minds Must Think Alike. That's who I was thinking we were going to hear next from. Sure.
Thank you. I know we typically request all of our community partner agencies to provide their budget, their profit and loss, et cetera. Given that we've moved this up earlier in the year to account for it being part of our budget process, I'm not expecting our community partner agencies to have that information this evening. Has it been communicated to them when they need to submit that to the city?
When we, I don't know that we've communicated that, but it would be part of the contracting process for, once we have a final budget number to put into the contract, that's when it would be provided. So later this year.
Wonderful. So we as council would receive that when the contracts came to us for approval?
For approval, yes.
Great, thank you.
Good evening, and please take it away, Doug.
Good evening. There was a lot of information in front of you, but I will be as brief as I can. I'm here tonight with Crystal. You may remember Crystal from last time I was here. She is the shelter's finance manager. She is the shelter's human resources manager, and she's the, hey, Crystal, I need this, I need that. She pretty much does everything over there for us. So she's here tonight to answer any questions about numbers if those come up. On the very first page in front of you today, I want to go through just a couple things on this page. Last year, the shelter received 1,115 live animals. That's 691 dogs, 312 cats, and 12 others. Another is simply anything that's not a dog or a cat. 42% of those animals, 429, were brought in by residents. Somebody finding a stray in the street, so you're on your way to wherever, and you see a basset hound waddling down the road, you pick that dog up and you bring it to the shelter, that's considered a resident stray. Canyon City accounted for 190 resident stray animals, 105 dogs and 85 cats. 17% of the 1,015 live animals that came in last year were brought in by their owners. In other words, they were surrendered to the shelter for adoption. That was 171 of those. Canyon City accounted for 94 owner surrenders, 51 dogs and 43 cats. So our residents brought in a total of 59% of all of the intakes at the animal shelter. And that's important information because people have said to me in the past that they should only pay for the animals that are brought in by the animal control officers. And that's simply not true. We provide services to the entire area and all the residents of those areas. Canyon City residents brought in a total of 284 animals, or 47% of all total intakes. So half of the animals that we got in last year at the animal shelter were brought in by Canyon City residents. 39% were brought in by animal control officers, the police or the sheriff, 396 total. And Canyon City, the Canyon City animal control officers and the police accounted for 234 animals, 212 dogs, 14 cats, and 8 others. Last year, we adopted 427 animals at the shelter, 202 dogs, 221 cats, and 4 others. We had a 42% adoption rate. That's the highest adoption rate we've had in the 10 years that I've been here. We returned 415 animals to their owners, 393 dogs, 19 cats, and 3 others. That's a 41% reclaim rate, the highest in the state. 5 animals died at the shelter last year, 2 dogs and 3 cats, and what that means is, like we just had a dog last week that it was an older dog, and he was neutered, and we came in the following morning, and he had passed in his kennel, so he had some type of reaction to the surgery the previous day. Sometimes we'll get neonatal kittens that are very, very young, and they'll go into foster, and they'll pass in foster. So those would be included in this line here. We had 26 animals who were euthanized at the shelter. These are animals that are owned by the shelter that we own. 8 dogs and 18 cats. 5 dogs were euthanized that were requested by the owner. So somebody came in and wanted to euthanize the animal for whatever reason. We don't provide convenience euthanasia. The animal really needs to be put down for us to do that. So we had a total of 36 deaths last year, 15 dogs and 21 cats. And the next area is simply, since I've been here, I started in September of 2014, and I have numbers here going all the way back to 2015, and you can see the intakes back in 2015 were 1,883. Now they're 1,015. You can see adoptions, return owner, transfer out, animals that died, everything that's there over the past 10 years, pretty much key indicators. And then at the bottom is save rates. I report 2 save rates every year, one with owner-requested euthanasia and one minus owner-request euthanasia. That's it for that page. The next page is simply all of the intakes that came in from Canyon City last year. It's by month, so and it's by species, so it's dog, cat, and other. The categories, I won't go over this. I just gave it to you for your information. Owner turn-ins, owner surrender, stray turn-ins, return adoptions, ACO impounds, and transferred in, so everything's there. And at the bottom is DOA. These are animals that are dead on arrival that, correct me if I'm wrong, they are brought in by the police and animal control?
And as well as the community.
Okay. So that's 72 dead animals brought in. So 524 live animals came in from Canyon and 596 total, including dead on arrival. Next thing, I'd like to briefly talk about a few of the challenges we had last year, a few of the wins we had last year. First challenge we had for the year, the contract funding fell short by around $25,000, which was far less than what we were projecting. Rescue Runway, which is our biggest event of the year, raised $38,000. However, expenses increased by 22%. The expenses for our last Rescue Runway was $18,364. So we had a net of $19,672. And compare that to the previous Rescue Runway, where we only raised $26,000 versus $38,000, and the expenses for that event were only $6,872. So we netted $19,000 for that event. So we make $38,000 on one event, $26,000 on the next event, and we make the same amount of money. It's just everything has gone skyrocket high, everything. We had space issues for incoming animals. From May 1st to October 31st, we recorded 661 intakes. We averaged 110 intakes a month. That's pretty tight for last year. We're doing the same thing right now. My shelter manager came up to me last week and said, we have 3 openings for dogs. It's just been crazy busy for the past 2 years. The shelter's application for an adopt a shelter pet license plate grant, that was denied. If anybody has these fancy plates on their cars and it says adopt a shelter pet, I mean, I do. It was one of the first things I got when I got here. I do. Money from that program is supposed to be sifted down to animal welfare groups. We were denied. It's politics. It's unfortunate for me. I am on the no-kill side of this. The people that are running the program are part of the social conscious group, which are not necessarily our friends. So here we are applying for something that the state should be giving us, and they said no. And I could go on and on about that, but it's just politics. Last year was also the highest percentage of animal euthanasia in my 9 years at the shelter. It was 0.031%. Emergency medical care for stray animals totaled $34,244, and that's simply a cat gets hit by a car, dog gets hit by a car, dog attacks a cat, wildlife attacks a dog. Somebody brings that animal in, it's a stray animal, this would be considered emergency medical expenses. Canyon City accounted for 59% of the shelter's emergency medical expenses. It was $20,197. Those are some bads of last year. Some of the positives were Big Girl. Big Girl is a dog who spent 508 days at the shelter. Now, I don't like animals to spend months on top of months at the shelter, but every now and then it happens. 508 days is a long time. She finally found her forever home. The problem with Big Girl was she is a pity. She is a dog that doesn't like other dogs. And she's old. So people don't look to adopt older dogs. It's unfortunate, but it's true. They don't typically want to adopt the pitties, which unfortunately is true. And they especially don't want to adopt dogs that don't like other dogs. So she had 3 strikes against her. So she was at the shelter for a good long time. She was highly well socialized, trust me on that. But it was really good that she was finally found her forever home. Then we have Mac. Mac is a dog that was rescued from an animal cruelty case. He was brought to the shelter because the owner was intentionally starving the dog, and the dog was eating rocks to survive. And he did some, quite a story. And if you had seen Mac when he came in, the condition he was in was horrific. He's in much better shape today. In fact, he's been at the shelter for 3 months. He is 10 years old, and he's looking for a home. So if somebody's looking to give a dog a home that's had a tough life, come on down and see Mac. And then there's Tucker. Tucker's an 8-year-old dog that was thrown into the shelter. Tucker has something called megaesophagus. It's a condition that prevents a dog from digesting food. Their esophagus dilates, and food just cannot get to the stomach. So in order to feed a dog like this, you have to sit them up like we're sitting right here and give them water and give them food. Now, if anybody's got a dog, go home and try to sit your dog like this and try to feed them. I mean, they're going to go out of their minds. We did that at the shelter with this dog for quite a while. Tucker did really good, and he has since been adopted by somebody. And that's a tough adoption. You would think that Tucker would be at the shelter as long as Big Girl was, but Tucker was adopted because somebody just fell in love with the story. So that's good stuff. Also last year, we achieved Colorado's highest open admission save rate for the 9th consecutive year. I want to say that again. 9 years in a row, your shelter here in Fremont County has had the highest save rate for open admission animal shelters in the entire state of Colorado. That's good stuff. I won't do the next one because I don't want today to go too long, but I just listed all the save rates going back to when I started in 2014. Also last year, the shelter landed in the top 3% of animal shelters in the country again. I say again because we've been in the top 3% in 2023, 2022, 2020, and 2019. And we're also in the top 1% of the country in 2017 and 2021 with 99% save rates. And that's pretty important because we are an open admission animal shelter. We have to take everything that's brought to us. We have to take the very young, the very old, the very sick, the very injured, the cute, the not so cute, and everything in between. We have to take them. And we are saving on a regular basis 97, 98, 99% of the animals. So my staff deserves a giant pat on the back for the job they're doing over there. Possible future roadmaps, nothing like the chamber. But we are actively engaged in discussions with building a standalone pet adoption center. The building we have now was built 1957, and it's not the type of shelter you need today. If somebody comes in with a cat that's got pain leukemia or something, some type of deadly virus or whatnot, we have cats that are for adoption right over here. Somebody comes in that's got a dog that's got parvo, again, a deadly virus. We have dogs up front. We have sometimes dogs behind the counter. So what we need is we need to build a pet adoption center somewhere here and use the current building for stray holds, bite holds, cord holds, animals that come in acting aggressive, animals that need time, that kind of stuff. And I think if we can do that, we'll be doing an awful lot for this community. But again, this is something we just started talking about in June. We also have plans to design a small cat adoption center up in Custer County. And the reason for that is we adopt an awful lot, excuse me, we adopt an awful lot of cats to people in Custer County. So instead of them coming down to us, it would be nice for us to bring 10 cats up to them and have them up for adoption on a regular basis up there, but that's still early. And the last sheet, and this goes against what you were saying, Amy, this is actually our budget for 2025, but it's early. We typically don't do our budget until later in the year. So these are the numbers that we came up with right now. I'm probably giving you more information here than you need on the sheet, but that's the preliminary budget. When we get to the end of the year and we finalize it, I can certainly shoot that over to you, Ryan. And the next column is the budget for 2024, the current year where we are in. Then there's the current budget year-to-date through July, the actual dollars through July. And then I also gave you folks the budget of 23 and the actual 23 so you can see where the shelter does on a year-to-year basis. So that's it. Tried to be as quick as I can because I don't want you guys to be here at 8 o'clock tonight.
Well, that is appreciated. Questions or comments from our council? Seeing none, thank you, Doug and Crystal, for, yes, sorry.
Just a quick comment. Just want to thank the shelter for all the work that you do. It's amazing when you see the numbers of how many animals come through your facility one way or another. And then I enjoy seeing your Facebook posts periodically showing the adoptions and the pictures of every single person or couple or whoever who have adopted. It's just, it's amazing that, that's a lot to accomplish, to not only do all the work within the shelter, but to find homes for the pets that are available.
Thanks for saying that. It's hard work over there. People think that we're playing with cats and dogs every day, all day long, and we're not. What's amazing to me is the fact that we've been able to hold the #1 save rate in Colorado 9 years in a row. No blips where somebody else took it from us, we've held it. And coming into today, we actually have a 98.72% save rate, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna go 10 years in a row. So I'm pretty jacked about that.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Oh, and on the contract, like Ryan said, there's no change. It's the same as it was last year. No change.
Understand. And next, we have Fremont Center for the Arts. Is that, who do we have next? Or is that it?
That's up to you, sir.
Oh, well,
We have Fremont Center for the Arts and Golden Age Center, the last two.
okay. Any volunteers? As long as it's green, you're good.
There it is. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody, or evening, I guess it is. Thank you for the opportunity to come back and visit with you again. The Golden Age Center has been quite busy over the last year, 18 months or so, and this is moving without me. Well, okay, we'll just carry on. So it's we've been quite busy. We've done a lot of work with our membership and members of the community, and putting together a lot of different activities. Thank you. We'll get that figured out. Just brought a few slides for you to see what we've done over the last, where it says use timings, I think, right there, that right below slideshow to the right. Right there. There it is. Hopefully. There we go. Maybe. Nope. The arrow button, right? Sorry about that. Yeah, there's numbers. It's flashing. Reset it.
Go, Brandon.
So in the meantime, if you ever get hungry around lunchtime, come on down and see us. We'd love to have you try out our fresh home-cooked meals. They're quite well cooked, I might say. Mitzi does a great job.
Why is there some of us that you're looking at directly?
I try to look equally. I try to scan.
He can't even control it from in there.
Wow.
So
Okay.
He's gonna put it on with timing, so it's just.
Okay.
Roll.
I'll talk fast. So some of these slides are, like I say, are going to be photographs of different activities that we have. I think you're going to see the King and Queen coming up. They have a lot of fun. Membership has a lot of fun electing a king and queen every year, so we always crown a king and queen. These are our regular weekly events that have been pretty standard over the last few years. Everybody loves these and they love to go. Music, Friday nights, we do first Friday nights, second Friday nights, third Friday nights. Whenever anybody wants to have a dance, then we have a band that comes out and plays and advertises that. We always have a good turnout for that. So there's Pam Gaunt. She's our president of the board, so she's presenting our king and queen with their certificates of election. We have 3 line dancing classes now. We used to only have 2, but there's been so much interest. We have a beginning, an intermediate, and an advanced. It takes up the whole dance floor. It's very popular, so we have a really active line dancing group that comes in. And if you don't know how to line dance, come see us Monday or Tuesday. We'd love to teach you how to line dance. They've even gotten me involved. It's quite entertaining. We have a picnic every year. The membership has a picnic every year, and we always have a good turnout for that. Here's a list of some of the activities that we've been involved in. Can you stop that slide right quick and go back to that one? I'd really like to highlight that because one of our goals is to provide as many activities to our seniors as we possibly can and members of the community. It's actually open to the members of the community that if anybody wants to go on a day trip or an excursion, we open that up. And one of the most recent trips that we've taken is the Lavender Farm out in Cotopaxi. We've got a new volunteer driver that decided he wanted to take that trip. So everybody that came back from that trip enjoyed his entertainment more than they actually did the Lavender Farm. But that was really a lot of fun. That was a fun trip. They really enjoyed going and seeing the Lavender Farm. We always go to the county fair, home and garden shows. We've started a new activity where the members pick out a movie at the local theater and say, hey, we want to go to the theater. So they're actually going tomorrow to see Reagan. So if you want to join us, we've got a couple of seats left on the bus. So just let me know you'd like to go. We'll get you on there. So the movie day is a new activity. We've been to the Colorado State Fair. We've been to the Rosemont Museum, Beckwith Ranch, and so forth. A lot of different out of the building activities. We want to get out and go. We want to tour. St. Cloud Motel we toured. You'll see a picture here in a few minutes of the new fire station. We toured the new fire station, and that's really good educational stuff. It really provides some good information to our membership, and they can spread that information out in the community and let folks know the things they've done and the sites that they've seen. So we really have a good time. a couple of our board members up there in the top right-hand corner, Miss Ruth waving at us. We had a gnome building class, one of our crafts that we did this last year. That was a huge hit. Really wasn't expecting that one to be much of a hit, but I tell you that we're going to do at least one more before the end of the year, and maybe two, I don't know. So they had a lot of fun with that. Now, if you don't mind pausing this slide as well, this is from our spring tea. This has become a very look forward to activity. The guy in the top left, he wore a tux this year, and he served the attendees to the spring tea. Of course, our queen, and then the Mad Hatter. Our theme was Alice in Wonderland. So we had the Mad Hatter. He's one of our board members, and then Ruth is the rabbit. She's on our board as well. And then you can see the room set up down there. We try to make it as much of a formal event as we possibly can. We have a lot of fun with that. So, okay, you can continue on. Thank you. And another new event that we had take place is on Wednesday nights for the last for about 14 weeks, I think it was. The Rural Gorge Promenaders used to be a square dance club here in town, and they want to start back up again. And you can pause. I'm sorry. They want to start back up the organization again, so they had square dance lessons. And so we had about 14 weeks of square dance lessons, had a great time. And as a result, it looks like they're going to be forming a new square dance club, and they'll be using the Golden Age Center on Wednesday nights once a month to invite other square dancers from around the community, Pueblo and Salida and even the Springs, to come down and square dance. Their first sponsored square dance, they had 54 dancers. So that was quite a fun event. This next photograph we have is Damon and Ann. I wanted to highlight them because Damon and Ann is on the far left-hand side. They're from California. They were walking down Main Street one day, and they saw that we had some activities going on there at the Golden Age Center. And so they came in, and as a result, they stayed almost 2 days. They wanted to learn how to two-step. Tim is our two-step instructor. So he, of course, welcomed them in, and Bonnie and Craig are learning how to two-step. So we had a picture taken with them, and they had a really good time. They were traveling the United States visiting parks and just happened to be in the area. Stopped in to say hello, and of course we welcomed them in. So just wanted to recognize them. So the next slide, if we would go to that next one, and we can pause that one, are some really interesting and exciting numbers that we've seen over the last year. You can see quite an increase over several of those. Coffee Club, we meet 9 o'clock Monday through Friday. We sit around, we drink coffee, we solve the world's problems. So if you have any issues, come let us know. We'll try to help you get them taken care of. We have a good time there, but you can see right at 100 in attendance increase from 23 to 24. Silver Sneakers, quite an increase there. It's a really good exercise group. They have a lot of fun. You'll hear them dancing and clapping and singing and just really having a lot of fun there at Silver Sneakers. And we really like Jim coming and doing that. All of our other activities, you can see that it has increased substantially. Other activities include the day trips and the excursions and the movies and the just the other idea, card games, ping pong, pool, the attendees. We've tried to expand as much as we can the different activities that interest our members and those that attend as much as we can. So we've done that, and as a result, we're looking for some more space. So we're beginning to outgrow the building, and there's plans in place to try to find some more space. So we're in the early stages of that. So we'll be looking for that over the next year or two, hopefully not too much longer. But things are changing and we're growing. They're getting back into activity again now that the pandemic is pretty much over with, and we're glad to see that. We're glad to see everybody getting out and participating and coming up with ideas and going places. We have 5 trips planned just for September alone, which is a first because we usually have about 2 or 3, but now we have 5 in September, so we're looking forward to those. The meal program, the nutrition program is booming, if I can say that. I think it's doing really well. Month before last, The nutrition program served 1,990 meals for the month of July. So 10 short of 2,000 meals, that's a lot. And so we're really proud of that. We're getting a lot of members from the community that are learning about the nutrition program through social media and advertising, and a lot of word of mouth. Just going out and talking to people and visiting with them, letting them know that we've got these meals available. And that's really exciting to see them taking part of that. It's a great social opportunity to sit over a meal and visit, talk about experiences and places that they've lived and worked and different things like that. Grandkids, I've got photos if you want to see photos. So it's a great time to visit. So, okay, we can continue on. Thank you. Some more spring tea pictures. We have models that come in. We have local businesses that provide us with their outfits and clothing, different designs, and we have models that come in and model for us. We have Jen, who's a board member up there in the top left-hand corner. Kelly is down here in the bottom. She's a secretary and on the right-hand side. And so our board members and staff are very involved in that spring tea. It's a lot of fun. We're looking forward to doing that again next year. And then I think the next slide that's coming up is a photograph of our lunch bunch. That's the dining room. It's pretty crowded. Mitzi just does a great job in serving lunches, and they're good, wholesome meals. And then our silver sneakers down there in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see it's taken up a big part of that room. So we have a lot of participants in that activity. And the next slide. This is, we have organizations every once in a while that want to do something for our seniors. So we had the Reed Agency approach us and say, hey, we've got free vegetables and fruits. They were donated to us. We don't want them to go to waste. Can we come give them away? And yeah, sure, absolutely. So they came and spent an afternoon with us and gave away some free food and got to talk a little bit to the seniors about their agency and different things that they do. So it was a great partnering activity for everybody. All right, and that's one of our ads that we use for Fremont County Transit. And then the next one, this is our newest vehicle. I don't think we had this vehicle last time we spoke. This is a 2024 Chevrolet Trax that was purchased by a grant that we applied for. It's got 16,000 miles on it and running like a top. It looks really nice. I think it's a good representation of Fremont County Transit and what we do, so it's some really good advertisement. We've got one more vehicle in the fleet that we would like to replace. It's an older vehicle with over 200,000 miles. It's been around, it's served its time, and we want to be frugal with our funding, so we're trying to replace it so we don't have to put a lot of money into it to keep it running. So, but we're proud of this one. This one's a really nice vehicle, so we'll be looking at another one like that here in the near future. And then if you would go to that next slide with the letter, one more. I just wanted to bring up a couple of slides that of letters that some participants had written to us talking about the impact that the Golden Age Center and Fremont County Transit has had on their life. And I don't think that I could word it any better. It's that second paragraph. For 8 long years, I found myself confined to the walls of my own home. Sorry. That's what we're all about right there, is helping folks get out and socialize and visit. And it means a lot to get these kinds of letters. And it's really a heart warmer. I know the person that wrote this letter, and we visit on occasion. And to see the change in attitude from when they first began to come in and then they got to know folks and visit, and now they're calling each other by first names and hi, how you doing, and how's your dog, or how's your grandkids, or how's your family. To see that socialization begin to open up again. I mean, we're not a hospital, but we are, just a little different way. And this is what makes it all worth it. And it's really encouraging to see, as you can see in that 4th paragraph, truly life-changing for this person and the opportunity to visit within the Golden Age Center. So that's what it's all about. This is the capstone to what it's all about. Okay, you can go to the next slide. Another letter from an individual that we were able to find some transportation for, and was very thankful for that. And we're obviously very thankful to be able to provide that transportation. And then the last one. Talking about the food. It's really good food. Did I say it was really good food? It really is. Really good food. Mitzi does a great job. And then the next slide, I think, will be the last one. This is just an example of some of the activities that we've got going on. You can see the line dancing is up there on Mondays and Tuesdays. We even have a knitting class that's fairly new. I sat today for about an hour and a half with 5 of our ladies that have come in, and they're learning how to knit. So it's kind of fun to listen to those conversations and talk about knitting a sweater or a blanket or whatever for kids and grandkids. A lot of good conversation. And then, of course, our wood carvers, and you can see the trips with the Pueblo Farms and the Tai Chi and the movie night and all that kind of stuff. So it's really exciting to see the growth that we've had over the last year. And I just want to say I just direct traffic. The staff is doing a phenomenal job. They're interested, they're engaged, they're looking for things to do, they're looking for activities, and so are the members. I had a lady come up to me the other day and say, thank you so much for what you're doing, because where I came from, and she named the city that they came from, you couldn't eat a meal unless you called 2 weeks in advance. You couldn't participate in an activity because they just didn't have any. And so, I said, it's not me, it's the staff. It's the people that are here. It's just a good place to be. And so that's what it's all about. So thank you very much for your time. Any questions or comments? Be happy to answer. Sure.
Thank you, John. Thanks so much for that presentation, Mac, and thanks so much for everything that Golden Age Center does in our community. I do have 3 questions. One, I'm curious if there's any difference in the ask that you had for us for the city from 2024 to 2025. Any changes?
I would like to ask for a little bit more. I'm going to do something a little different, and I'm not going to give you a number. I would just simply like to ask for a little bit more, simply because of the fact that costs have increased. We all know that. Our fuel expenses have gone up for our vehicles. Our insurance has gone up because of the vehicles, insurance going up across the nation. I would leave that up to the council. We would be more than grateful. We've been more than grateful over the last several years for your support, and we will continue to be. But whatever the council feels is appropriate right now, we're maintaining. We have our exterior funding sources that are still producing some funding. I want to be very careful how I say this. We are facing some struggles with the state and some regulations that have come into place, because we do Medicaid trips. We do provide trips to doctor's visits for those recipients who are Medicaid participants. There's a lot of new regulations that have come down that's causing not just us, but small transit agencies, even around the state, a lot of issues. We actually didn't get paid by them for about 5 months, so we struggled quite a bit with that. We're getting paid now, but there's a credentialing process and a revalidating process that is changed through some regulations that I'm kind of concerned about. We'll come out okay, but we're not sure how we're going to come out in the end. So.
And 5 months is certainly a long time to be awaiting those funds.
Yeah, and then there's another agency that we hadn't got paid since February from them, but it's another state issue.
2 other, hopefully rather quick questions. I'm curious, with all of the assisted living facilities that we have in town, if there's any partnership or linkages between the Golden Age Center and those places like Skyline and the High Rise and et cetera.
Yeah, we've got we make trips to pick folks up from different places around town that want to come eat. So we do pick up residents at different facilities and bring them to lunch and then take them back home. And we'll even take them to the grocery store if they want to or whatever. As far as a partnership with the organization themselves, not necessarily, but I have been to different places and visited and told them what we're all about and been able to provide some information about transit and the nutrition program and the activities. And we do have some participants from different organizations that come down.
Awesome, that's really great to hear. And then lastly, not to put you on the spot, and happy to get this via email, but I loved all of the numbers that you shared with us for your activities, and I'm wondering if you have similar numbers for the Fremont County Transit.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We've got, last month, we had 711 in our ridership. Those numbers, the ridership numbers, ebb and flow, time of the year, different events going on at different places, lots of snowbirds come and go, vacation, different things like that. But I've got 12 months worth of numbers monthly. If you'd like to have those, I'd be happy to give those to you.
Yeah, just I'm curious as to what the ebb and flow is, and just hearing that it was 711 last month alone, like that's truly providing a very needed and necessary service, and it's wonderful to have both the qualitative letters describing how much that service can change somebody's life, but then to also have the quantitative 711 last month alone is really, really helpful. Thanks, Mac.
Thank you. Mhm.
Any other questions, comments? Well, thank you. Thank you, Mac, for
Certainly.
coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And I think last but not least is the Fremont Center for the Arts.
Yes, sir.
I always feel like I'm coming to the principal's office. I'll take this one. We just keep going until we're here. Before we begin, can I just say how incredible our community is because of what we have here? That is just outstanding. So, sitting here in this.
Hey,
space,
make sure your green light is on, please.
Is it on? It has a green light. No, yours is on.
Mine's on.
They don't want to hear me. I'm just really thankful for what we have in our community. So, yeah.
Thank you all for inviting us here tonight for this. FCA's mission is to create experiences that connect people to art, ideas, and one another, to engage, educate, and excite our rural community by collecting, exhibiting, and preserving works of art for the enjoyment of all. We strive to foster connections among our communities through integrated multidisciplinary art experiences. And what we have here are just what's been going on over the past year at Fremont Center for the Arts. This year so far, we've had 8 exhibits for First Fridays, which we are averaging between 300 and 350 people on our First Fridays, which is exciting for us. Because we've opened the eligibility to all mediums, we are seeing more variety in the artwork and have many new artists submitting art and participating monthly in our shows. We are fortunate to have artists from Florissant, Divide, Pueblo, Buena Vista, and Rocky Ford regularly showing their art and supporting our rural center as well. We are highlighting Family Crisis Center for our October exhibit, Ghost Towns of Colorado. November's theme is Birds of a Feather. We will be recognizing veterans in the community as well as featuring their art. As you saw in there, we've had a lot of finger painting competitions, one of which you participated in, and they're always a great success. This month at our First Friday, which is Nature's Splendor, we are having local artists do our finger painting. We have about 15 to 20 local artists committed, including Rudel Mergelman, Pat Weil, and various others. That money from the silent auction will go towards our capital campaign, so we're hoping to generate lots of fun from those. If you're not able to join us this First Friday, please come out throughout the month because we will have the silent auction open all month, so we can hopefully generate more funds. In collaboration with the Fremont County Schools, we held our 27th annual April Fremont Schools Art Show. And that was a success. We had all of the schools in the area participating. We just closed our 7th annual collaboration with the Federal Bureau of Prisons Art the Hard Way. All artists are incarcerated individuals at the ADX Supermax at FCC Florence. The inmates submitted more than 350 pieces, including art that had been knitted and crocheted, and this continues to be one of our most successful shows of the year. We recently assessed 10 art pieces into our permanent art collection, increasing the total number of pieces to 211. In addition to that, we have a children's permanent art collection, which currently has 6 pieces. Our Creative Kids classes continue to be an integral part of our weekly programming. During the summer, we also provided a weekly STEAM education program, which builds on STEM's hard skills foundation by incorporating soft skills and the arts to help students solve problems creatively. Our fall program will alternate monthly between art and STEAM classes. Special events, fundraisers, collaborations, partnerships this year include Beauty Reborn, which was working with Green Thumb Initiative, providing an experience of original Salvador Dali, Pablo Picasso, and other fine artists not readily accessible to our rural area. We were also able to provide an evening of acoustic guitar music by Andy McKee, a well-known recording artist. And as we were advertising for that particular show, we had a mother reach out to us about her child he's about 7 or 8. Mm-hmm. And from a small child, he suffered from anxiety. And the one way they could calm him was put him into a tub of warm water and play Andy McKee's music. So when we found out about this, we facilitated him having a personal meet and greet with Andy. So that was very exciting to have him there. Royal Gorge Association of Realtors has hosted several events at FCA, including the Colorado RPAC event, as well as a Sip and Create, which 26 of the local realtors attended and participated in. We've partnered with Canyon City Library on several occasions for different events in Macon Park with the youths. And I think there were I saw some videos of that. We're working with Rooted Gypsy Repertoire for several of their events. We participated in their it was Back in Bloom in the spring, and we're working with them now for their Mary Poppins presentation. We just finished a collaboration with Rialto Theater, and under the guidance of our art director, India Beach, completed a mural inside the theater where 3 local artists have done the mural, which represents the Rialto, the Bell Tower, and us, and shows the collaboration we have within the community among our different art venues. We worked with and provided the VIP venue for the Star Point Forks Corks Farms and Family recently. We're very fortunate to have a vibrant volunteer community willing to donate their time and talent with us. And one of our very special team members of that volunteer group are the Star Point consumers. They come every week to spruce up the art center, take out our trash, clean up the outside area, so we're very fortunate to have them. Through our frame shop, we provide a very unique service, custom framing to the community that's not otherwise available. We continue to run our capital campaign, searching for a new home, our permanent forever home. We're in the process, and hopefully that will happen sooner rather than later. Our lease ends in December, end of December. If the building hasn't sold, we can renew our lease. However, our rent will triple what we're currently paying, so that's a significant struggle for us. We currently have 185 active memberships, 100 single, 66 couples, 3 families, and 5 corporate, and 11 lifetime memberships. Our wall sponsorships continue. We have 24 spaces available, and 11 of those are currently sponsored. Our commitment to this community is and will continue to be creating experiences that connect people to art, ideas, and one another. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Questions, comments from, yes?
Being non-creative, I have a silly question probably. What is the thought process and the purpose of having your own art collection, I guess? You know, you said you just contributed or bought 3 more or whatever. What is the thought process and the reasoning behind that?
That is a great question, not a silly question. So Fremont Center for the Arts has been in operation since 1948, and that permanent collection is 47, my bad. That permanent collection is responsible for maintaining the cultural history of Fremont County and Canyon City. So in that collection, we have artists that lived here, worked here. They painted pieces that represent life during their time. So that's very significant to our area. And every month we show a different piece from that permanent collection that relates to that monthly theme. As you saw in here, we also had Cocktails and Collections. That was a large showcase of our permanent collection. Since we have over 200 pieces, it's important that we show those works at least every 2 years. The fun part is that we'll have people come in and say, oh, I was there when that was purchased from Blossom in, 1987 or 71. And it's just exciting to relive those historic moments that happened within Fremont Center for the Arts.
Other questions, comments? Sure.
Thank you so much for that presentation and for that answer, India. I really appreciate you guys being here tonight and you being the guardians of that cultural history within our community. Same question that I had for the Golden Age Center. Is there any difference in the requests that you're planning to ask for 2025 as compared to what you've received in the past? Thanks.
Well, one of the questions that I have is how long have we been receiving this same number?
Since before I was on council, so for at least the last 3 years.
So again, we would probably put it in your hands and ask for you to be giving as much as possible. I can't wait for the day when we don't have to sit here and the money that you've allotted to us can go to other places. So we're looking forward to that.
I believe it's been since 2019.
Other questions or comments? Well, thank you for being here. Thank you all for coming. We do appreciate you sitting here with us this evening and having a conversation. And with that, I believe we don't have anyone else to hear from. Is that correct? So
That is correct.
I believe we are concluded. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.